Okay, so now the next, in photography, there is called ABC of photography. A is for aperture, B is for shutter speed, and C is for ISO. And with these three levers, we select the right brightness in the picture. We select the right light. Now we are going to come to the B of photography, and B is called the shutter speed. Shutter speed means how much time you let the light stay in the camera. How much time, for how long, okay, for how many seconds, okay. So for example, I'll just show you. See, this is your camera. You open the lens, and here you see the sensor. This is the sensor. This is where the light gets recorded. This is where the light gets recorded, friends. So imagine, there is a shutter in front of the sensor. Like say for example, this is the sensor where the light gets recorded, okay, and there is a shutter in front of it. Shutter means like a door, okay. When you click the button, this opens up like this, and then it closes. It opens up, light hits the sensor, and it closes. So it goes like this, like this, right? So shutter speed means for how much time the light will stay in the camera, okay. Now tell me this, did you take bath today in the morning?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, so if the water pressure was slow, it will take more time to fill the bucket or less time?
More time.
More time. Very good, right? And if the water is coming very fast with a lot of pressure, then it will take less time, right? So same with light. If the light is less, that means in the morning, like in the early morning, okay, or in the late evening when the light is less, that means we have to give more time for this camera to record the light. And if we are clicking in the daytime, like say for example after sunrise, say in the morning, say around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, that means that there is a lot of light because the sun has come. Sun is the biggest light source on the planet Earth, right?
Yes.
So when the sun has come, so this camera will take less time to record the subject, okay. Now beautiful thing about this camera is, Veer, that it records only light. It only records light. It does not know your subject. It does not know whether you are clicking a cow or you are clicking a tree. It does not know this. It only knows the light. It only knows the light falling on the subject and coming back into the camera. Okay. So now the shutter speed dial on every camera, this back dial, which is also called the command dial, this is called the shutter speed dial, okay. So this is how you change the shutter speed, okay. Shutter speed right now is 1/200. Just select and find out how to change the shutter speed like this, okay. We were at say 1/200. Now it is going, and we are able to change this. See, it is going to like say 8,000. You know what is 8,000?
Yes.
1 second divided by 8,000. For that amount, that tiny amount of time, this shutter will open and close. It's very high shutter speed. You know how is 1 second? How long is 1 second?
1, 2, 3, 4.
One means 1 second, right? So you divide that 1 second by 8,000, and that one tiny is the time for the camera.
1 second.
1 second divided by 8,000. That's the time, right? Say for example, if you have one chocolate, okay, and I tell you that Veer, there are 8,000 people we have to share this chocolate. So how much chocolate will everyone get? Very less, right? Very less. So that is the time that this camera will take. That is the time you're letting the camera, okay. Now there is one more option. This is the high shutter speed, but you can go to the other side also. See, like this. Now we are going to say slow shutter speed. So let's say we go all the way to 30 seconds. 30 seconds. We go to 30 seconds. That's the slow shutter speed. That means when we click the button, for 30 seconds the shutter will be open, and every light that will be there in front of it will get recorded and will close. Okay, right? Clear? So this is what it is, shutter speed. Now you show me how do you change the shutter speed. Select a shutter speed of 1/200 of a second. 200. How will you change? Show it to everybody. How are you going to change the shutter speed? The back dial. The back dial. Yes, the command dial. Okay. How will you change it? Bring it to 200 of a second. Like it should show 200. Yes, this is 200 of a second. Now if I ask you to make it to 500 of a second, what will you do? Yes, 500 of a second. Very good. And if I ask you to make it 1000 of a second, then what will you do? You are able to change it, right?
Yes.
Very good. And if I ask you to make it all the way to 8000 of a second, what? Yes, 8000 of a second. Very good. So you are able to change the speed, right? So the first role of shutter speed is to reduce the light or increase the light on the subject. So right now I am at a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, and you can see that the light is more on the subject. So what I do is I start increasing my shutter speed from 1/50th of a second. I go to 1/60 of a second, then 1/80 of a second, then 1/100 of a second, then 125, 1/160, 1/200, and you see that now it is getting so beautiful, right? So this is what is used. The shutter speed is used to control the light. So we can increase or decrease the light on the subject. Now I am at 1/800 of a second. So now I'm going all the way to 1/4000 of a second, right? So at 1/4000 of a second it is looking completely dark. So what I do is I start decreasing the shutter speed. So I go to 1/3200, 1/2500, 1/2000, 1/1600, 1/1250, 1/1000, 1/800, 640, 500, 400, 320, 250. So this is what shutter speed does. It increases or decreases the light onto the subject, right? So this is the main function of shutter speed. Now the second thing that a shutter speed can do is it can stop the motion. Now you see that there is this ceiling fan that is running at a full speed. So I can actually stop this motion by changing the shutter speeds. So I'll show you how we click this fan at various shutter speed and what kind of looks it creates. Share with you some common shutter speed that you can use. Number one, when you are using your camera with your hand, you do not go below than 1/60th of a second. You select 1/60th of a second, and any speed above than 1/60th of a second, like 1/125, 1/200, 1/400, anything that you can click by your hand. But in case you go below than 1/60th of a second, that means you are going to a shutter speed of say 1/40 seconds, 1/30 seconds, then you would need a tripod. Otherwise the picture might look blur because it might have a little bit of handshake. I can click the still image at 1/60th of a second if the light is less, or I can also click this still subject at 1/125th of a second. So ideally, we will select a shutter speed of say 1/200 of a second for a still subject, and we can go up till 1/60th of a second if the light is less. But in case we have to go below than 1/60th of a second, then we will need a tripod. For still subject, I would recommend use a shutter speed of 1/200 of a second.